Hello, everybody. This is Buddy in Midland. I've got a interesting story for you today, and I've posted about this on my Facebook before, but I've never made a video about it. I think it's important. I think it's connected to the crimes in the crime ring here, and I have some facts to back it up. And I'm going to name this "Rids the Body of All Autoimmune Diseases," and that was a quote from a screenshot that I took in 2012, just a few months after I was ambushed and shot. I was actually going back and I was looking at the Facebook timeline of friends from my hometown, and so I'm just gonna get into this short read here, and I think, like I said, I think you're gonna find this real interesting. After I survived the murder attempt, I saw a post on my Facebook from a woman named Dana Tinley, who was selling an MLM product called Montev. MLM is multi-level marketing. It's like the pyramid product schemes, except it's legal. There's a whole bunch of them. There's Amway and Avon, and where they're selling to their friends and all that stuff, and there's more of them. Anyway, this is an expensive, Montev is an expensive vitamin-enriched fruit juice in a wine bottle. She claimed that it rids the body of all autoimmune diseases. She also said, "Can you give me a praise God for Montev?" That bothered me, when I read that. And there are over 100 autoimmune diseases, and you'll see here on this side, I went and looked up the autoimmune disease list, okay? And I want to show them. I mean, there's pretty obvious that you or somebody or somebody in your family probably has one of these diseases, and here I'm going to show you some more of them, okay? And Dana Tinley is saying that this MLM, this fruit juice, that will rid the body of all of these diseases. And there's more of them. Here, I'm going to show you more. And so just to give you an idea that's just an absurd claim. Anyways, I'll go on to say, I said that includes the MS or multiple sclerosis, which my aunt has, and so it was personal to me. And then type 1 diabetes and rheumatoid arthritis. That's just to name a few of them, and a longtime friend named Denise Britt commented on the post, says, "Thanks, Dana, 100% true." And so I sent her a private message, that was Denise, and advised her to stop saying that stuff, as somebody was going to die of one of these diseases, and they're going to charge her. It's illegal and wrong to sell false hope to the sick and dying. On the day before I was ambushed and shot inside my home, Dana posted that they were putting 150 couples on a cruise which they had earned by selling this juice. That was on top of the $50,000 compensation plan, with new bonuses up to $110,000. And I just couldn't see how anybody could make that kind of money selling fruit juice to their friends. She then says, "Now isn't that a mouthful?" Okay. A mouthful sounded like a crude inside joke, because I wondered if they were selling something extra on the side, as in sex. My friend that was at the 2010 oil show party and told me about the young girl that was murdered when she refused to prostitute would later tell me that she was given $26,000 in cash. And I believe that to be true. Yeah, of course, I don't have a recording. You don't record everything you said, but possibly bank records could check that, see if there was large deposits, if there was payoffs on bills, whatever, because she told me she was given $26,000 in cash, and that's highly unusual. My understanding was that for this money, she worked a schedule with others in this area, and they were doing prostitution tricks. It was organized prostitution and crime. The cover was selling MLM products. The terms dropping off catalogs and having a party took on new meanings. Now this kind of contract there, where you agree you're going to take the money, and money that she needed, and I'm sure probably them other women, they probably, or men, whatever, that they needed that money. That's no doubt about that. There's a financial need there. But if you try to break that contract, you end up like that little girl at the oil show party, dead. dead, and then your remains will be found later, and there'll be a Crime Stoppers for you, like in 2013, the remains of a 14 to 21-year-old little girl was found outside of Midland. It's believed to be the girl murdered at the oil show party who wouldn't prostitute. Anyways, she sold Scentsy. What that is flameless candles. It's another, you can buy them at Walmart, not Scentsy, but you can buy flameless candles at Walmart. And then Premier Jewelry, and pretty much that's junk jewelry is what it is, fake gold and stuff like that. And these are legal MLM businesses, so there's nothing illegal about these businesses, this network marketing. But I'm sure that any of the MLMs could be used as fronts for organized prostitution and crime, and because it provides a cover, and and it's like I said, I'm going over to this house to drop off a catalog and take a donation or whatever, and we're having a party, and I'm sure you've heard them terms before. I even wondered if that was how they were laundering the money. That makes sense because a lot of these products, seem to be way, way overpriced junk products. You know what I mean? And then I went ahead and said, now isn't that a mouthful? Nah, ain't that a funny joke? And Dana's son, Chris Tinley, sent me this threatening message on Facebook that said, I wouldn't know you if I found you in my coffee. And goes on to say that I slandered our fine law enforcement officers, some of which were killed in the line of duty. He was referring to Sheriff Deputy Mike Naylor, who was now known to be the second secret police shown arriving at my house after I had been ambushed and shot with my phone lines cut. And it took 6 years to get him identified, and he wasn't dispatched. Nobody's explained, why Deputy Naylor was at my home minutes after a murder attempt, following Woodward and, the story. And then the other one, I wouldn't be surprised if Chris Tinley isn't a friend of Chad Simpson. Chad Simpson was the police officer that went on to murder his wife and kill himself, and he was seen inside my house. His name also wasn't on the police report. That's two secret police that are dead now. And so, he said something. Oh, he slandered me. We're going to read that. I think right now is where we're going to go look at the proofs there. Okay, and I'm going to start with this one. Okay. And this one here is from Dana Tinley right there. Now I want you to recognize the date on it. January 27th. On January 28th, 2012, my life changed forever. I'm now crippled for life. I lost my career. My reputation's ruined. I'm living under the threat of death, being stalked on a regular basis. That's what's going on today, all these years later. That's with proof that I wasn't shot with my gun, proof that homeowners all over Midland, Odessa, Texas, and other states reporting people in the attic, and proof that multiple people are documented saying tunnels and underground homes are here, including the recent candidate for sheriff. Okay. And here's Dana's time. I want to go on a cruise. 150 couples depart this weekend. A free cruise they earned with Montevideo. Not to mention at least a $50,000 on the side, and now new bonuses that can earn up to $110,000 in bonuses this year on top of the compensation plan. That's $160,000 plus a cruise, all for selling fruit juice in a bottle. Wow, now isn't that a mouthful? Do you want it to be on the next cruise in July? Inbox me. If you want to hear more, if you are in Montevideo, reach out to your active upline. And upline, they make money off people they sign up or whatever. And so anyways, here's the picture of the cruise. This was a screenshot of her message that day. Here's the message I showed you. Can you give me a praise God for Montevideo? And it was a lot of this same stuff here that I'm going to show here in a minute. We're going to read it here in a minute, right there. Dana, once again, Montevideo took my cancer marker from 204, had to be 192, to 166 in 30 days. So she was saying this fruit juice lowered her cancer marker, okay? Was going to have to be tested for cancer again if it didn't go down. Talk about, as I said, no. When you find yourself on your knees, scared half of your mind, you will try. And I was doing 35 minerals, vitamins, day highs, no. Cancer markers still high. Montevideo also gave my kids their their mama back, and my husband, his wife, will never go without. I'm like, cured cancer too, and then. And here was the comment that I was talking about. This is changing the whole world of people that are sick and tired of being sick and tired and want to get rid of all of their autoimmune diseases. So if you have juvenile diabetes, if you buy Mono-V from Dana Tinley, it'll get rid of it. That's what she's saying. If you have multiple sclerosis, and nobody in the world has the cure for MS but Dana Tinley and Mono-V, this expensive fruit juice, And I'm like, bullcrap. And there's where Denise says, yeah, thanks, Dana, 100% true. I'm like, no, that's not true. That's a bold-faced lie right there. People are going to die. You shouldn't be selling false hope to the sick and dying. That's wrong. That's all there is to it. I mean, I think we can all agree how wrong that is, and possibly illegal. And then Tate Tinley here, January 29th, the day after I'm ambushed and shot, just sent off the Tinleys, Zellers, and Waldrons on their free cruise to the Bahamas, thanks to Monaviv with Mandy Martin, Waldron, and 4 others. Okay. And so I just wanted to show you this post that's not Buddy said that Dana said. Buddy has the screenshot of saying that Dana said it would rid the body of all autoimmune diseases. And Buddy said bullshit. That's what I said, First, let me say that neither me nor any of my family would know you if we found you in our coffee. This is Chris Tinley. This is the son. And I think they now live in Midland. Ain't that interesting? And a slander of our fine law enforcement officers, some of which were killed in line of duty. Remember, now he's talking about the secret police. Back then, it wasn't, Empire Private Investigations hadn't identified them. They were still secret. So it was easy to attack me because I didn't have all the address, And I'm very aware of your struggles. I used to work in the field and realize that this disease is the driving factors of your behavior. So here's the slander, the life-destroying lies that were told about me to cover up the premeditated home invasion, capital murder attempt on my life. And here's saying I shot myself. I think Chris Tinley knows something about the premeditated capital murder attempt on my life. And I took this as a threat, and so I'm going to go on back to where I was at. Okay. And I think somebody should ask Courtney what he knows about the underground homes that Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano said Sheriff Payne used to hang out in, of which multiple murders are believed to be connected with him. Because what we know now, Buddy wasn't shot with his gun. That means somebody came to my home and shot me, and that is a dangerous, dangerous criminal. It's been compared to Charles Manson and his gang that went into the home of Sharon Tate and murdered her. That's who these people are. My oldest daughter, who mysteriously quit talking to me several years ago, that's Jennifer, had told me that she was house sitting for her mom, who was Shauna, in Andrews on the night that I was shot. She said the reason was her mom went on a cruise. I knew that Shauna was a friend of Dana Tinley, so I wonder if Shauna won a cruise with Mono-V, selling Mono-V. I don't know that though. I found out 2 years after the murder attempt that Jennifer was sending emails to Detective Rosie Rodriguez a few hours after the murder attempt, so obviously they knew each other before I shot. Come to find out, Detective Rosie Rodriguez was the lifelong friend of the ex-wife here in Midland that I'd filed divorce on 5 days before I shot, and she was caught lying on police reports and tampering with evidence. Okay. And so these are the 2 emails. See, when the protective order was filed on me 22 months after I survived the murder attempt, and that was absurdity in itself, right? Because the ex-wife I hadn't talked to in a year and a half, hadn't seen or talked to in a year and a half, lived 100 miles in that way, files this protective order on me. And, and it was a 3-month marriage where she was alleged to be involved in the shooting by her former boyfriend, So, but due to that, my attorney subpoenaed all the records from the police department. And we got some of them. They illegally withheld the police report, and some others. But to my surprise, these were turned over to me, and they were emails between my daughter and Rosie Rodriguez just a few hours after I was ambushed and shot. It's still a mystery how my daughter knows this dirty cop, but this email right here, I'm going to show you here. My sister-in-law, Mitzi Webb here, she sends it to Jennifer is like 12 minutes after I was seen crawling out of my home. Okay. And so I had sent this to Mitzi, an email to my sister-in-law earlier in that day, about 12 hours earlier. This is the day of the murder attempt. Okay. And I wrote her, Mitzi, I pray that you read this a few times to understand what I'm trying to tell you. Ask that you say a prayer before you do to help you see the truth. Watch your back and God bless you, And of course, this was before, I was estranged from my family, and of course, back then, this was actually this 12 hours before I was crippled for life and survived a murder attempt. And so, I'm telling her that I had contacted the police about mom's death from the month before, because I found out I'd been lied to by my brother, which is her husband. Okay. But I made it a point that, I can't see anybody in our family hurting mom, and here's the events of December 7th, the day that my mom died. And so I sent this email, and for whatever reason, 12 minutes after I'm ambushed and shot, Mitzi sends it to Jennifer, my oldest daughter. And as I said, Jennifer hadn't talked to me in several years without explanation. Okay. And at 2:02 a.m. right here, I'd crawled out at 10:42 on that day. Almost, of course, that's almost the next day. So then there's two. So it's about 3.5 hours later. Jennifer forwards this on to Rosie Rodriguez, and she writes, I forgot to mention he has filed some sort of paperwork with the Midland FBI office regarding what he believes happening at his house. He was also asking News West 9 to air a story on the things happening at his house. The intern asked him to provide proof. He does not like or trust the Midland Police Department. He believes there's a prostitution ring in his neighborhood. He made a comment the police could harm him because he knows they're involved in a ring. He made this comment the police were at his house. And I don't really know what Jennifer was saying to Rosie or even why, but like I said, I found that 2 years after the murder attempt, I found out my daughter was in contact with that dirty cop. And I have reason to call her a dirty cop. She was caught lying on police reports and caught tampering with evidence, And then the second email that Jennifer forwarded to Rosie Rodriguez the night that I'm ambushed and shot is this one. It's called Just in Case. And I had sent this a year before. Actually, it had been sent, I don't know if I can quickly find the date, but it's sent in January 2011 to my family and friends, and this is my son and brother. In case some accident happens to me, it's not an accident. That's what. In case some accident happens, I want everybody to know, because these crimes were going on a year before I was ambushed and shot. Well, so Jennifer forwards this just in case some accident happens to me email to Rosie Rodriguez, and guess who ruled this attempted murder an accident? Rosie Rodriguez. A year earlier, I'm saying if something happens to me, it's not going to be an accident. And Jennifer sends that email to Rosie Rodriguez. But that's what I was saying. She's a dirty cop, And I found out, I think we'll go ahead and finish this. Here's just a couple more facts. The month before I'm ambushed and shot, the ex-wife took my life insurance books without my knowledge, and they showed I had a basic accidental death policy and a supplemental death policy. And so if my murder was ruled an accident, then it was 2 times annual base pay plus $250,000. So basically there was $500,000 extra dollars to be added when Rosie ruled my murder an accident and her lifelong friend was the beneficiary. And I just filed divorce 5 days earlier. Okay, keep that in mind. In court is when I found out that Rosie Rodriguez and my ex-wife were lifelong friends. I was never told that. I had no idea. They went to elementary. She's asked in court, and then what happened was we see them. My attorney sees my ex-wife and Rosie Rodriguez sitting together before court, visiting like they're old friends, right? And well, ain't that unusual, you know? And so she asked her. My attorney asked her, and Rosie Rodriguez, I've known her. We went to school, and I guess elementary and junior high. They had known each other all their life, and even come out in testimony, they'd been in contact during that time, you know. And so here, that's why I put these two together, because it shows this accidental death and supplemental accidental death increased the payout by $500,000 if Rosie Rodriguez would rule my murder an accident. Okay, and so then the other one I have is right here. And see, and when I crawled out and I drove to the 7-Eleven, the convenience store, Rosie Rodriguez climbed in my truck and started giving me first aid. Of course, I didn't know who she was. You know, I thought the cavalry was there. I was actually, thank God, finally the police are going to do something. I've had them crimes being going on for 14 months of terror, unbelievable terror. Finally, even though I'm shot, bleeding, you know, crippled for life, and like finally the police been here, not realizing that they're dirty cops that were involved in it. And come to find out that what I find out is Rosie Rodriguez lied on the police report, said she wasn't even there. And April Chandler also lied and said she climbed in my truck and was giving me first aid. They both lied right off the bat. This was one of the secret police pictures in my bedroom. They had tried to disable this camera and accidentally started it. It's the only reason I have these pictures. And what I'm showing is I found my cell phone was stolen and my home phones were cut before they shot me. This was premeditated murder, except I lived, okay? When I got back from the hospital 10 days later, my cell phone's planted behind this nightstand and my home phone's back to working. Okay, and here I find a picture of Rosie leaned over the nightstand. I believe that she was planting my cell phone right there with April Chandler. And based on the timestamps and in the room, they waited till all the other police officers left the room, and then they planted my stolen phone that was stolen just right before I was ambushed and shot. Okay, they did that and it's timestamped here at 3:54 a.m. I mean, they're busted. I mean, you can see it. And then I find on the police reports and the narrative that Rosie makes up this lie and said, Buddy said his phone was not charged. Buddy never said his phone was not charged. Buddy had his cell phone, his cordless phone, and the reason I had my cordless phone because my cell phone had been stolen, and my cordless phone sat on the charger all the time. I never use it. I always use my cell phone, but my cordless phone was fully charged. Buddy didn't say his phone was not charged, but this was called excuse making. She knew they stole my phone right there, and that's what she was excuse making. And that's why she made up that lie. I mean, they ought to be arrested right now as far as I'm concerned. And there's a lot more evidence than that. But anyway, this is who my daughter was contacted just within a couple hours after I'm ambushed and shot in a home invasion. I'm home minding my own business. I mean, these killers come to my home with guns, right? Cut my phone and stole my cell phone and shot me and left me to die. Listen to me scream for help, you know. There's a whole bunch of unanswered questions here. And so, and then I'm going to go on here. Shauna, my daughter's mom, that's Shauna Newton, wrote me a hate-filled message after I survived the murder attempt, calling me crazy, and I've long suspected that she knows something about the crimes against me, too. I wondered if there was an underground going-away party for the couples that left for a cruise that weekend. So law enforcement should be checking on that, you know, and asking these people in Montevideo. You know, I mean, they can talk to Dana Tinley, right? We got Dana Tinley recorded. She's the one that's selling, false hope to the sick and dying. You know, somebody can talk to her, right? You know, I think that's enough to start asking some questions there, you know, and ask Denise Britt some questions, ask Chris Tinley some questions, you know, ask Shauna some questions. And so anyway, this is this message here that I got from Shauna here, and just, you know, she's real foul-mouthed, you know. You need to take down your effing bullshit about my daughter and grandson on your Facebook. You've not been involved in their lives for years. Do you not realize or care the pain you're putting your children through by your paranoid delusions and posting them for the world to see? They're nothing but lies. It is not true. Okay, once again, here we go. Back then, I didn't have proof that I wasn't shot with my gun. I didn't have multiple other homeowners identified, documented, reporting people in the attic. I didn't have multiple people saying there's tunnels, underground homes here, and like Sheriff candidate Joe Lozano, and I replied, my foul-mouthed ex-wife, while you were secretly reading my Facebook post, you missed the one where I wrote about the people who attacked me with slander such as you just did. You didn't mention the proven fact that I wasn't shot with my gun and that somebody shot me, also known as capital attempted murder. You didn't mention the fact that there are people dressed like police sneaking into my home and removing evidence on the night of the murder attempt. We now know they were police and have their names. It took 6 years. You didn't even mention the x-ray report, which states that I was shot 11 days before I was actually shot, or the other reference x-ray dated 9 days before. And we also have proof that x-rays were faked at the hospital. And so here I'm trying to defend myself against these life-destroying lies that have been spread about me. But Shauna, it was Boggs was the name at the time, and July 6th, and that was 2012 when she sent that, or 2014 looks like, sent this message here and with this slander. And so I think law enforcement should talk to Shauna and ask her what she knows about the premeditated capital murder attempt on my life. Nobody accidentally breaks into a private home and accidentally shoots a homeowner. That takes premeditation. I think we can all agree to that. Okay, let's go ahead and read a little bit more down here. I've long suspected that the crime ring was a sex trafficking ring. 2 people at the Home Depot store told me that prostitution was going on behind their store, and I believe it was connected with the people in the attic. I was also told about the old show parties and where the young girl was murdered when she refused to prostitute, and then my friend was given the $26,000 in cash money. Cash money. Of course, organized prostitution always brings in other crimes such as rape, assault, and murders, and in this case, it looks like burglary and theft is done when they're rigging private homes with hidden underground access. And I believe they were probably doing prostitution tricks inside my home when I wasn't here. And I'm not going to get in that anymore, but here I'm just to show the 50,000 foot view of my home. This is where I'm ambushed and shot. It's where the last homeowner is believed to die. There's the secluded truck unloading lane. This is where believed the tunnel was at. Concrete was later poured. I believe the people, the oil show parties and the pedophile parties were parking here, going underground here, coming out through this tunnel and going into underground home that's here in the backyard. And there's supposed to be 4 of them underground homes, And then here I've said this before about the clerk that just says if you see a lot of cars in the parking lot late at night, it's because we're stalking, And I think that was their cover excuse, okay? And so I think that the underground was connected with prostitution, okay? And then the I want to show you here. This endless line of truckers behind my home. This is my backyard. You can see how close this is, okay? And here, there's one truck, there's another truck, and right here is where the manholes are at, okay? I believe a manhole, and here's where the underground facility is supposed to be, and my home's back over this way. And I believe the people in the attic were going down and meeting the truckers doing their business, Much of that has stopped now after all the attention, the videos, and see, I sent this picture to the chief of police in 2012, who was Robinson, and I said, hey, the manhole off, the cover off this manhole has been off for 2 years. That's where these truckers were parked, was right there next to that manhole. I was thinking, that's rigged, and they're 2 side by side manholes. I think one of them was put in, and it led, to the back to the underground facility, and then goes under my house and up where they could get in the attic or whatever. Okay, here's the other side of the wall, west manhole, east manhole, and then that's always like, why would they put 2 manholes side by side, going in the ground? That they must go to different places. That makes sense, doesn't it? And here was the live tree that was taken out, and I believe this was taken out in 2014, 2015. It looks like a cover-up was going on at that time, and probably because of the attention, and that's when much of this stopped of the suspicious trucker traffic, the trucks that were pulling in and the 24/7 not unloading freight, staying 30 minutes, an hour, and then leaving. Okay. These are Google Map pictures here. They're dated. Here's my home, shows where I shot, okay, directly behind my house. And what we're showing here is this line of trees, okay? I want you to look at this line of trees. Here's the alley, line of trees, the Home Depot's here, line of trees, tree's gone, okay? And so we can date that and go here that this tree's missing by 4/28/16. Actually, we know it was missing in July 2015 because I drove back there and I have a video, so I know it was missing even earlier than that. So it was taken out somewhere between 10/2/14 and July 2015. This live tree was taken out, and the live tree just happened to be next to the side-by-side manholes. And once again, you're seeing truckers parked right there. You know, that's not the loading door. Loading door's way over here, way over there, and the trucks are parked right here by these manhole, with one of them had the lid open. And in the backyards, believe one of the underground homes here, and then the people in the attic. So it's believed the people in the attic were going over here, meeting the truckers, are coming back. It's like a truck stop and lot lizards, you know. The other thing, the Suddenlink cable that went down that telephone pole, it was disconnected in September 2014. And, you know, I was wondering if this coax internet TV went to the underground home here, because it don't go to Home Depot and it don't go to the homes. It just goes underground, and goes underground right here by the underground home, you know. And then also in the backyard of the neighbor's house was a suspected tunnel entrance, and it was taken out at the same time. See where it's gone? Okay, and interestingly, I got a video on this just about a week or two before I ambushed and shot. I climbed on my roof because because I'm looking. The ex-wife had said maybe they're coming from the ground, so I'm looking to see if I could see anything. And when I get on my roof, then I see that in that backyard. It looked like a storm cellar door, something closing, covering the ground, you know. And so I see this a week before I'm shot. And then here, like I said, it was taken out same time this live tree was taken out. I long believed that was a suspected tunnel entrance. And the whole point of this is I believe that this crime ring was a sex trafficking ring. I know a week before I'm shot, the ex-wife is here. We're loading stuff out in the back of a truck. And I tell her, I already know about the tunnels, and I called the DEA, you know. I didn't know the DEA wasn't going to show up, you know, and I was going to be ambushed and shot, you know. And some people wondered if they hadn't set me up to be murdered because I reported crime to them. But either way, she thinks about it, and she's thinking, oh, they're going to come in and they're going to, they're going to expose this and do what they're supposed to do, what law enforcement is supposed to do. And she looks me in the eye and she says, I'm not a part of a prostitution ring. I didn't say anything about prostitution. I said I knew about the tunnels. And that's what told me that's what these tunnels were used for. This buddy, Midland, Texas.